Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Manny B Investing MPI, and I just came across this video, and everybody's talking about FTX and SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried. I kind of just wanted to play this video real quick and kind of just talk about briefly what's going on.
I can't imagine what it feels like to go from $20 billion to $100,000.
Yeah.
How did he go from crypto hero to crypto supervillain?
Today, a lot of people look at you and see Bernie Madoff.
GMA tomorrow, Sam Bankman-Fried, one-on-one with George Stephanopoulos. What happened to the billions people invested with him?
What is the talent that you have that convinced people they should invest billions of dollars?
He was on top of the world.
You got all these celebrities. You did it in a big way.
Yeah.
Have you gotten calls from any of the celebrities who endorsed you?
But now,
Are you worried about going to jail?
and what led to this?
That's a pretty stunning admission.
The breaking new interview.
It's kind of crazy, right? So this is the guy, and he's always with sports people. He's always with celebrities, Democratic politicians. This guy is a mastermind, and I feel like this is all a part of his plan. Like, he is a really brilliant guy, and like I tweeted before, there's no way that these two things exist at the same time. That Sam Bankman-Fried is just this random guy that came out of nowhere. I just do not believe that's true. His family is really connected. They're really successful, wealthy people, well-to-do people. He's not a random. His connections to people are all the same. They're wealthy, connected, well-to-do. These people didn't accidentally come together. They didn't bump heads. This is the CEO of one of his companies connected to FTX, which is alleged to be responsible or be used to funnel cash deposits from their users through this kind of shell financial company, where this person, who again, this person isn't random. This person is well-to-do, smart, connected family. I believe her father teaches or is in the economics program at MIT, like a really smart, really brilliant, successful person. The connection is crazy, and Gensler is connected to her father. They both teach the same stuff at the same prestigious university at MIT. And I just don't believe that these things are random. So like I said, I don't believe that these two things can exist at the same time. SBF is the world's worst trader and gambler to ever exist on the face of the earth all time, and is also brilliant enough to create FTX and then create this brilliant Ponzi scheme that took advantage of athletes, went mainstream, and was able to capture billions and billions of investor funds, whether it be VCs or individual retail cash deposits. I don't believe those two things can exist at the same time. And I'm just telling you right now, conspiracy alert, but not really. So let's take a look at a video of this person.
Could pull it off without my math degree.
Caroline
Use very
Ellison.
little math. Use a lot of elementary school math. Being comfortable with risk is very important.
Comfortable
we
with
tend
risk.
not to have things like stop losses.
Listen to this. She says she tends not, and mind you, this is from Ian Miles. I follow this person. I'm not following them on this page, but I have other pages where I follow him. I believe this might be cut up, so context may not be 100%. Just want to throw that warning out there. But in this clip, she's talking about how she doesn't use the math, like very high level math, when dealing in this stuff. She doesn't believe a stop loss is a good risk management tool. A stop loss. What is a stop loss? A stop loss is, for example, this is how you use a stop loss. Say you are in the markets, you buy Cardano or Bitcoin or Ethereum, whatever your favorite digital asset is, you buy it, right? You buy it at, say it's worth $5, and you make a purchase of this asset for $5. And the market is going up and down and up and down. But you hope to buy low and sell high if that's what your plan is to sell it to make a profit. The stop loss is where you would begin to lose money. So you buy it at a certain price, and let's just say it goes up. Say it goes to $10. What you want to do is you want to say, okay, $5 is my break even. $10 is where the price is right now. So what I would do is I would say, I'm going to set a stop loss at $7. So when the price falls to $7, it will trigger my stop loss and it will automatically sell my assets so that I can guarantee that I have a profit. She's saying that that is not a good management tool. So apparently, fast forward to today, she was wrong. That would have been an amazing risk management tool. Now that we know that they lost everything gambling.
I think those aren't necessarily a great risk management tool. I'm trying to think of a good example of a trade where I've just lost a ton of money. Well, I don't know. I probably don't want to go into specifics too much.
Yeah, because you're a criminal. Because you're a criminal. But let's take a look. FTX, this is the price currently, $1.32. This stuff was, I remember when FTX was like $80, and this was like a year ago. And I was like, FTX, like everyone else, we saw it, anything that was excelling or touching mainstream, people in crypto will be proud. I had positive feelings for FTX and the things that they were doing. I didn't know that they were all criminals and it was a big elaborate Ponzi scheme that connected to Hollywood, professional sports athletes, and Democrats in the United States government. He did donate to some Republicans, but it was, I would say, over 95% of the political donations were Democrat Party. And I actually read a story about Beto, who is a clown, in my opinion. I would toss him in the lake in a heartbeat. But I did read a story where he rejected $1 million donation out of nowhere from SBF right before the election. This guy was literally taking money from accounts that people put into FTX to invest in the crypto markets. He was taking that money, removing it, sending it to Alameda to this person who was then gambling it and losing it and probably buying property and personal assets and stashing money all over the world in different accounts. I just believe that these people have the money, a lot of the money, stashed in accounts in jurisdictions that they believe are safe and probably are. But they were paying off the government. There was a reason why they were paying off Democrats, because they were easily purchasable. Republicans, I'm not saying that Republicans are good in any way. Politicians are politicians, right? But I know the landscape for Republicans is a little bit different than Democrats. The way that you pay off Republicans is different. You can't just say, here's money, I own you now with Republicans. You have to do it a different way to own a Republican. It's super easy to own Democrats because a majority of the time you just say, here's money, they'll accept it. What was her name? Christina Gillibrand, I think her name is. She's usually a presidential candidate for the Democrats. She usually loses really early. Really terrible candidate, in my opinion. But she took all the money. She took that money, no questions asked. I noticed that. But Beto, he actually returned the donation, and there was an article about it, I think in the New York Post, and I was like, wow, good on him. But he returned the money and said he didn't feel comfortable taking an unsolicited donation of that type, that amount, right before an election like that. It was shady to him, and he turned it down. So I have to give props where it's due, and definitely would say that was a good move, a noble move from him. Typically, Democrats have been taking this guy's money, no questions asked, and it's very sad. But look at the chart on this, man. look at the chart and you go, what happened? What happened? Let's take a look at Wikipedia. And I am shocked. I am shocked that Wikipedia actually has information on here that doesn't make him look like a victim. So let's go ahead and read through this. In November of 2022, Binance CEO CZ, that's what we call him, is CZ. Binance is the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world. It is a centralized exchange. I don't recommend using Binance. I don't use Binance. I don't like centralized exchanges. The same things I don't like about FTX, I don't like about Binance. It revealed on Twitter that his firm intended to sell its holdings of FTT, the FTX token. Binance received FTT as part of a sale of its equity in FTX in 2021. Zhao published his tweet soon after a report from CoinDesk stating that a bulk of the holdings of Alameda, Bankman-Fried's quantitative trading firm, were in FTT. So what this means is that CZ found out that they didn't have money. And then actually from the New York Times video that we know happened, he actually stated that they didn't have bank accounts. They couldn't get bank accounts. They were trying to get bank accounts and no one would allow them to get bank accounts on behalf of their companies because their companies were trading and dealing in unregulated, quote unquote, securities. So they said, no, we're not giving you a bank account and letting you convert a token that people on the internet say is worth a bunch of money, but in reality isn't worth anything. It's backed by nothing. So banks were like, no, we're not doing this. So what they started to do was they started to put crypto on the books, their own token. They weren't holding Bitcoin. They weren't holding Ethereum, like other tokens. They were holding their own token. So that's a conflict of interest. And they were using it, in my opinion, like cash. That's what I believe was going on. So CZ saw the same thing and said, wait, what is happening right now? So you're telling me that this company doesn't have any money. They're literally holding their own assets and using that as money and leveraging and longing it, taking out loans against it. Bankman-Fried's quantitative trading company firmware FTT. Bloomberg and TechCrunch reported that any sale by Binance would likely have an outsized impact on FTT's price due to the token's low trading volume. So people really weren't confident in FTT. Like myself, anybody that's in crypto and understands what crypto is about and isn't just the degen gambler, we have fundamentals. We have fundamentals. I wouldn't hold a centralized exchange token. If I do, it is 100% just gambling. That's all it is. The value, because centralization means one person or a small group of people have centralized control over the product or the protocol. They can do what Sam Bankman-Fried did. He can log in to his admin portal, see all of the accounts, all of the monies that are attached to them, and he can just take them. He can just move them to his account. That's what centralization is. Where you have God mode, I would not give my money to a anonymous or shady group of people in shell companies and say, here is my money. I'm going to buy stuff and allow you to do it all for me. No, I don't like that. I wouldn't do it. I don't recommend that you do this. And if you do this, understand this is what can happen to you. So they paid this guy. He took a stake in FTX, a big stake, I believe, probably billions of dollars. And he had these tokens. And he started to say, well, I've got all these FTT tokens, and it seems like the company is really just floating on these FTT tokens and praying that the value stays up. If the value drops, then the company is in ruins. So he said, I've got a bunch of these FTT tokens. And I don't know what his motivations were. I don't know if he honestly came to that conclusion that I just kind of fantasized for you, or if it was an aggression, if this was an attack. He knew what would happen if he sold. he knew that the company would come tumbling down. Maybe he did this on purpose, because FTX failing is a really bad thing for everyone, but he stands to make out if he can sell his tokens. He can take the cash. So I believe that's what he did. So Binance, the impact on TT's price due to the token's low trading volume. The announcement by CZ of the pending sale and disputes between CZ and Bankman-Fried on Twitter led to a decline in the price of FTT and other cryptocurrencies. So their disagreement and their nonsense made the entire market slide downward. Lots of power, lots of money being thrown around. Shortly before, CZ criticized Bankman-Fried's lobbying efforts. So he started talking trash about his lobbying efforts, and I thought that was really weird, because he was hanging out with Democrats and hanging out with Congress people in sessions trying to write laws, and that's a whole different subject, what he was doing with Congress. On November 8th, CZ announced that Binance had entered into a non-binding agreement to purchase FTX due to a liquidity crisis at FTX. Of course, we're in a freaking recession. CZ further announced on Twitter that the company would complete due diligence soon, adding that all crypto exchanges should avoid using tokens as collateral. Too late. He also wrote that he expected FTT to be highly volatile in the coming days as things develop. So this guy was tweeting out, hey, dude, the price on this stuff's going to fall, which then caused people to go, oh, crap, and start trading it, selling it. And the price started to drop. I remember when that happened. I was on Twitter watching it happen. On November 9th, the Wall Street Journal reported that Binance was walking away from the FTX acquisition. That was a big announcement that caused a lot of downturn and a lot of turbulence in the markets as a whole, but definitely cooked the FTT token. Binance cited reports of FTX mishandling of customer funds and pending investigations of FTX as a reason the firm would not pursue the deal. Amid the crisis, SBF was no longer a billionaire, according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index. So this dude lost more money than Kanye West in a shorter period of time. Also, on November 9th, Bloomberg reported that the Securities Exchange Commission and Commodities Future Trading Commission were investigating FTX in the nature of its connections to Bankman-Fried's other holdings. I highly doubt it, because the leader of the SEC, the chairman of the SEC, is good friends with this chick's dad. Worked with him, actually. So that's why I don't believe any of this part. They're not looking at this guy. If they are, they're gonna slap him on the wrist. Anonymous sources cited that Reuters stated that Bankman-Fried had transferred at least $4 billion from FTX to Alameda Research without any disclosures to insiders or the public early in 2022. Yikes. The sources said that the money transferred had included customer funds. And he can do that because it's a centralized exchange. He's the administrator of the protocol. He has God mode. He can just take your money and you can't do anything about it. In fact, you won't even know that he took your money, because if you log into your account, it'll just say that you have whatever you have. But in reality, the assets that are backing up your account, which was real cash that you deposited, he just took it and just made your account say that you still had the money that you had, when in fact you didn't. And you wouldn't know that until you went to do a cash withdrawal. You would have nothing. It'd say, nah, sorry, can't do it. We're not going to send you your money because we spent it. Alameda owed FTX about $10 billion, which were secured through customer funds stored in FTX, when FTX had at the time $16 billion in customer assets. According to anonymous sources cited by the Wall Street Journal, the chief executive of Alameda, Carolyn Ellison, told employees that SBF was aware that FTX had lent its customers money to Alameda to help it meet its liabilities. Whew. That is just complete fraud. It's illegal. You would go to jail for this. Oh, I didn't read that part with the insiders. The sources said the money transfer had included customer funds and that it was backed by FTT and shares in Robinhood. Okay. So this dude was he said, hey, I have an exchange. This is a great exchange. You want to use this exchange to buy cryptocurrencies? People were like, okay, cool. And they started using it. He then was able to leverage his companies and his success to pull in other investors, the likes of Tom Brady, the NFL. He was able to get naming rights on buildings, stadiums, and things like that, like NBA stadiums and NFL stadiums. And he was able to get sponsorships with NBA, which pushed the brand and pushed it to Hollywood, which had other people investing and donating money to this cause. He amassed a fortune that wasn't his. It wasn't his fortune. It was his company's fortune. And then what he did was he created a shell company where he took the money out of the business, literally from customer accounts, and transferred it over to that company. And then that company started buying off politicians, started buying things, like he bought a stake in Twitter. He bought shares in Robinhood. He was just pulling baller moves, just buying stakes in all of these companies all over the place, all over the world. He was buying real estate. They said he spent $20 million on real estate. I don't know if that's true or not, but this is all speculation. He was buying all of this stuff, and it was all with money that either was leveraged or was completely just stolen from customers on the platform. And then they just made these bad bets and lost all this money. But in reality, in my opinion, speculation, of course, I believe they did not lose a ton of money. Did they do risky stuff and risky trades? Absolutely, because it wasn't their money, and they knew this was all going to burn to the ground at some point. So they made these risky bets that probably in their own minds probably believe that, hey, if we hit on one of these bets, we'll be good, we can return all the money, and we can go back to normal. But that would never happen, because at some point somebody's going to say something. And even if they did pull it off, they were still breaking the law. You can't do this. It's illegal. But they didn't win any of these bets. Actually, they lost the bets. And the people that they did business deals with that were smart, like CZ, understood that he could pull away the Jenga block and send the tower crashing. And I think he discovered that that's what he was looking at. And he got into a fight with SBF on Twitter to feel him out and see how he would act. And I think based on that exchange between the two of them, I really believe, again, speculation, that he decided to just destroy the company and send it all crashing down. So I don't really see CZ as necessarily a superhero in this situation. I believe that he knew what was going on, and he knew what would happen if he poked that bear, and he did it anyways. He kind of ripped the Band-Aid off. I mean, I don't condemn him, and I don't think he's a bad person, but he's definitely not the hero that people were saying he was in the beginning of this. So yeah, very, very interesting. The politics, the political stuff in all of this. I mean, this is a separate long video in itself, so I'm not going to get into that just yet. I'm going to wait for more things to come out, wait for these interviews to drop, and then kind of engage and take a look at that. I don't know if I have the time or if it's something that you guys want to do or want me to do. Maybe I live stream, kind of watch it, and we can do like a watch party or something. I don't know. Maybe do that over the weekend. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to just put this event. This is a historic event. We will look at this in the future and look back on this and just say this was serious. This was crazy. And kind of, I just want to document it. I think this is very fascinating. It doesn't have a ton to do with Cardano. It has a lot to do with the entire space. I believe it reinforces the values that I have, and I hope that you people have. And if you don't have values in crypto, I think you really need to look at these cases and look at this stuff to determine what is at stake when you decide to do things like invest in centralized tokens, invest in centralized coins. Do your due diligence. Does it make sense? Anything that's successful or seems successful in the crypto space that has the ability to lead to mainstream adoption, we just automatically gravitate to and cheer for, which I think is a good quality. But it can blow up in our faces. And FTX was one of those things that kind of blew up in everyone's face. Even though I didn't own any tokens, I never told anybody to buy any. I never held one FTT token. I really looked at it and I really thought about it. thinking, hey, maybe I can ride this to the top. It would be a gamble. I decided against it because I just stood on my principles to avoid obvious centralized protocols. And FTX was a centralized protocol. I say the same thing for Binance. And I know a lot of people use Binance, and I'm not saying Binance is bad, but it just goes against what I got into this space for, and that is for the people, a decentralized blockchain, decentralized applications, all cards face up. FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried's cards were all faced down. Thank you for checking out the video. Hit that like, hit that share, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.